Question. I study and practice magic, as in Hermetic magic, if it can be categorized. And the story goes that Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth, Lao Tzu, St Germain is the same stream of consciousness that came to Earth to help humanity through different embodiments as an ascended master's goal is to bringing more light to the world. My question is based on the following four assumptions. St Germain was the same conscious stream of Hermes Trismegistus, Lao Tzu, and Thoth. They all either performed magic or taught philosophy to understand the universe that led to understand magic. The goal of St Germain, the one in charge for the next 2,000 years, is to bring the golden age of humanity. Magic is the same as the miracles of Jesus and is a finer understanding of energy and consciousness. If those four are somewhat right, is it acceptable to link those assumptions that one of the aspects of this golden age is to make magic as common science that can be taught in school like physics and chemistry? Okay, so I'm not an expert on magic. Let me put it this way. I don't know hardly anything about magic. So it may be that my answers here are based on a lack of knowledge. But what I will say is based on Ascended Master teachings. St Germain was the same conscious stream of Hermes Trismegistus, Lao Tzu, and Thoth. First of all, the Ascended Masters, neither through me nor previous dispensations, they've never said that Thoth is an Ascended Master. I'm not aware of any Ascended Master Thoth. I know it's talked about in magic, I know it's talked about in Egyptian, but it's not as an Ascended Master. And the same conscious stream, yeah, but it's not the same life stream. It's not the same being. Lao Tzu is not the same as St Germain. Hermes Trismegistus is not the same. You can say, if you want to say it in general terms, and I don't know if this is how magic uses it, that there is a stream of consciousness and that all ascended beings are part of one stream of consciousness that goes all the way up to the Creator. So if you say it that way, you can say that they all came out of that. But you have to realize that ascended masters, they started as individual life streams and then achieved the ascended state by growing. This is the same process that we have the potential to go through. So it's not that they were there. They were not, let's put it this way, they were not created as ascended masters in a higher realm. They are ascended masters in a higher realm, but they ascended much before our world, as I explained in my video about how the world was created. So what I'm trying to say is that the ascended masters we know that are working with Earth, they ascended from Earth by going through the same process we have the potential to go through. And I have a sense that magic looks at it more like there's some kind of God, some kind of deity that they're using. But again, that could be my ignorance. And then the second question, they all either performed magic or taught philosophy to understand the universe that led to understanding magic. The trouble here is that the little I know about magic is there are different forms of magic. They use the word magic in different ways. Personally, I would prefer not to use the word magic because it sounds a little bit too much like magical thinking and the traditional religions that think that God can perform miracles, and if you pray to God or make sacrifices or do the right kind of rituals, God is going to grant you a miracle. And to me, the impression I have is that many people approach magic from that state of consciousness. They want to find some kind of spell or incantation that can get them the physical conditions they want in life. But what the Ascended Masters really teach is a deeper philosophy that we are co-creators and we have co-creative abilities. But see, our co-creative abilities, okay, so let's put it this way. You can say, here I am. I want to be able to turn water into wine like Jesus did. So I want to find some outer measure, some outer ritual, some outer spell, some magic wand that I can use to turn water into wine. But my understanding is that Jesus turned water into wine because he had attained a higher state of consciousness than the average person. In other words, a high degree of Christhood that gave him a certain mastery of mind over matter. This wasn't an outer spell. It was his transformation of consciousness. So, to me, what little I know about magic is many people approach it that they want to find the outer spell that allows them to get what they want without them having to change their consciousness. But what is really behind, I think, even magic, but certainly what you can call Hermetic philosophy and mystical philosophy, is the transformation of consciousness. You have the alchemists who, many of the alchemists, they were at a lower level of understanding of this. They were attempting to find a physical means, the philosopher's stone, to turn lead into gold. But the real alchemists realized that this could only be achieved through a transformation of consciousness. So if you, with magic means some outer way, that's not what the Ascended Masters are talking about. And that's why I would say is magic is the same as the miracles of Jesus. Well, not if you look at it as an outer way. And that's I would say that the person goes on to say that is one aspect of the golden age is to make magic as a common science that can be taught in school, like physics and chemistry. That's not the Ascended Master's goal. Not based on this way of looking at magic. But it is, of course, the Ascended Master's goal to teach children in school how to heal their psychology, transform their psychology, and attain a higher state of consciousness. And that will eventually lead some people to develop certain abilities like Jesus demonstrated. But you see what I'm trying to say here. I think many people approach magic in this way to have some outer means of achieving physical goals, or whatever goals they have. For example, that outer means to make someone else fall in love with them. But the Ascended Masters are talking about a transformation of consciousness. And that only comes through an inner process of being willing to look at your psychology, overcome the subconscious selves, and reach for the Christ consciousness.